What up, YouTube? Yeah, you feel me? This is the weekend of November 7th. It's a Saturday. You feel me? An update on NIO. Also, you feel me? This EV market has been so fucking bullish lately. You know what I'm saying? So it's got me bullish in the EV market. Obviously, I've been talking a lot about NIO, my investment in NIO, my trades in NIO, and NIO has been making me money for the last 2 weeks now, and I don't see it really slowing down anytime soon. But if we go into this chart over here with NIO down here, we had a huge run on Thursday up until almost 44 after hours. And then we had a drop down to the 38.80s, which was about 11% drop. Started getting super choppy, way more choppier than usual. A lot of battling going on up and down right here. And then it started making this bull flag. Again, in NIO, I'm invested in two of my accounts. I have 3 accounts total. 2 accounts I'm invested. The third account, I've kind of been trading it, selling it in the pops, buying on the dips. But they haven't really been dipping. It's, as you can see, it's been on a tear for the last 10 days. So it hasn't really been dipping, so I've been missing opportunity in between. Yes, my trades have all been green on them. So when I buy and sell higher, obviously it's green. But if it would have just been a straight investment, because lately it hasn't really been dipping. So as it's just running, I'm buying at a higher price and then selling at a higher price instead of, buying at a low price, sell at a high price, then wait for it to dip, repurchase it, then buy it again, and then sell it again. Instead, it just kept running up. So I'd have to buy at a higher price than what I sold originally, and then, then sell it again at a higher price. So, I mean, I've still been green on the trades, but it just started pushing and ramping up more than I actually expected it to. And then on Friday, that huge dip, and then it started looking in here like it was getting a little bit weak, because from the previous day, it did have a little dip pre-market, or it did have a dip during the day, as you see here, topped in the 39s and then dropped all the way to the 35s. So, I was kind of anticipating maybe another little dip, which it could still potentially happen. So the position I had in my third account, which is the account I'm normally trading NIO with, I decided to sell my position, which I'm up pretty big profit wise. I'm up about a little under 50% profit on NIO from that one account. I want to say somewhere around 48% profit on that one account. But the reason why I did that, for 2 reasons. One, as you can see over here, or let's just go over here, in the 1-year chart of NIO, to me, it's getting really overextended, and I'm waiting for a drop. I really want to see it drop down to the 35s. A lot of consolidation in this area, just from the intraday charting, but also to cover up, the gap's pretty much covered between here from the actual trading of, as you could see from the 10-minute, 30-minute chart. So, it's all pretty much covered, but, I'm still waiting for some kind of big pullback. I want to see something, but NIO just has so much good things coming out for it. Even Elon Musk came out and threw a shot at NIO on Twitter saying that, hey, Tesla's at 420, which is way better than 42. Basically taking a shot at their price, since Tesla's price is around, I want to say $430 right now, and NIO's is closed at 41.63. So basically saying like, hey, my company's 10 times better than this one, which to me sounds like a fucking jealousy thing, because NIO is so hot and everyone's calling NIO the potential Tesla of China, which it's a very premium brand, and it has a huge following, a cult-like following, just like Tesla does. So, it does very well have that potential, and I truly believe it does, and I'm holding it for the long run for that reason. Now, the whole EV sector is starting to heat up a bit. And now that Joe Biden is basically, I believe he won the presidency, they're already calling it, saying that he is the next president and he wants to go green. So I'm only going to assume that in the market, we're going to see a bunch of EV stocks start heating up, you feel me, on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. And that kind of pretty much happened with XPEV, another Chinese automotive EV company. which recently IPO'd a few months back. And this company is also doing very well. As you can see, they also ran from the 20s to damn near the 40s. The difference between NIO and XPEV, as far as chart wise, this happened in 2 days compared to NIO happening in 10 days. Why is that? Let me show you. Where are we? Right here. So here we go, XPEV. So the difference between XPEV and the NIO as far as the chart is right here. Short float, 81.86 million. Now, if you guys followed or watched any of my videos on day trading, the lower the float, the bigger reaction to a move if there is high demand for a small, so you feel me, it's supply and demand basically. So depending on the supply and depending on the demand is how high this thing could push. As you can see, the volume traded on Friday over 100 million shares, which is more than the float, which is 81.86 million. Okay, so that could cause a massive squeeze. And then on the third day, as you can see, it did pop. And so in 3 days, it went from the 23s up to almost 40 and then came back down to, let's see, came down to the 33 area. So again, this is like a massive squeeze. And then this also very similar to here. Closes at the high here and then drops at the market open, just like you see in NIO. And then pops back up and then kind of formed its own bearish bull flag. Very similar, but this one's looking a little more bearish. So again, I sold my position in this one account, still holding position in the other two on NIO. But XPEV just became very interesting, so I started researching this company as well. Because, so for the short term, if I have an account that I'm trading NIO in, okay, then, you know, I'm buying and selling the pops here and there. Well, XPEV, because of this, the short float and the demand on the stock, and then with now the potential EV market heating up even more, I could see this stock just pushing faster than NIO. And let me show you why. And it's because we have 81 million shares float compared to almost a billion. So we have almost 100 million in XPEV and almost a billion here. And so you feel me? As you can see, the volume is 287 million shares traded, which is huge, but that is only about a third of the float compared to XPEV, which is trading more than the float, which will cause a bigger reaction the more the demand for that stock becomes, which it's looking like that's going to ramp up because it has the last 3 days for that stock. And then I just want to get into it a little bit. So I was going through their SEC filings. And these guys are also, you know, these guys are also a runner for a potential big company, because you got to remember the market share is huge in China. Okay, the market share holds 55% of the entire world. Okay, so that's huge. And for XPeng, that's what it's called, announces vehicle delivery results of October 2020. So as you can see, November 2nd, 2020, which was a few days ago, a leading Chinese smart electric vehicle company today announces vehicle delivery results for October 2020. XPeng delivered a total of 3,040 smart EVs in October 2020. 3,040 smart EVs. That's 2,000 less than Tesla, because as you remember in the last video, I'm sorry, not Tesla, NIO. As I said in the last video, it was over 5,000. It was 5,055. Okay, the company's smart sports sedan and 936 G3s is smart compact SUV. So this company already has a sedan that they're pushing out, which NIO has yet to push out their sedan, but now they are pushing out. They will be releasing their sedan soon, and they already have back orders ready to purchase it. But this company already has a sedan, and they have an SUV very similar to NIO's. The company's October deliveries represented a 229% increase year over year. Now, I don't know if you remember or if you watched the video of NIO, but NIO had a over 100% year over year increase in total deliveries. So it's up there. And as you can see, October 31st year to date, deliveries of the company reached 17,170 units, representing a 64% year over year, compared to NIO, which was for the total deliveries for the year of NIO was 100.1%. So I mean, it's up there, guys. They're moving. Okay. And so you can see here, even the news came out November 6th, which was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Sure was yesterday. This is by Seeking Alpha. Strong performance, but currently undervalued. And it says XPeng has shown growth performance in the past several quarters prior to its debut, as long as trajectory of growth ahead, a strong financial position, and growing production capacity. The stock currently offers ample value when you look at sales and enterprise multiples of its peers in the segment. So they compared this to NIO, they compared it to Li, they compared it to other EV, and these guys are almost pretty much like the second biggest company as far as sales go for electric vehicles. And not only that, against the backdrop of the steadily deteriorating U.S.-China relationship, XPEV debuted successfully on the New York Stock Exchange on August 27, 2020. So again, they just recently IPO'd not too long ago. The stock popped 40% the day, even as a surge in demand resulted in the Alibaba-backed company raising $1.5 billion. So this company is backed by Alibaba. Alibaba is a company in China which they compare to Amazon in America. So Alibaba is basically, they consider it like the Amazon of China, which is a big multi-billion dollar company. We're talking damn near $500 billion, and their hold is about $1.6 trillion in assets. So I mean, these guys are no joke. Their founder, Jack Ma, a very, very well-known Chinese businessman, entrepreneur, and he's no longer with the company. But I mean, just little things like that, man. You got to realize things like that have big for the backing of a company like Alibaba to back XPEV, XPEV is fucking huge, dude. You know what I mean? So just looking into it, and they own. What's it say right here? Alibaba Group Limited subsidiaries and own almost 200 million shares, which is 13.3% of the outstanding. So they own about 13% of the company, which is huge. You know what I mean? And so we talked about here with the growth of deliveries, as you can see here, delivered 3,000 in October, 229 increase year over year, and 17,000 vehicles year to date, which is a 64% increase year over year. All right. Then we talk about here where they're still valued. They're undervalued, and they have the chance to compete with NIO, which I believe they're very much going to be very close, similar. I seen an article where they talked about like NIO, they specialize in more of premium vehicles, so like high-end vehicles, and XPEV is more like for like your daily, everyday guys, you know what I mean? Like, so I seen an article where they said like, if comparison to like American cars would be like if NIO was like Cadillac and XPEV was like Chevy. So you feel me? Like still a car worth buying, but it's just not on the premium market. It's more for like the middle class, lower class citizens compared to NIO, which is more like middle class to upper class. Someone that wants more luxury with their ride, like you would see in Cadillac or like you would see in higher end vehicles. And these guys also, if we go in here, XPeng announces cooperation agreement for new smart EV manufacturing base. So basically, they already have their own manufacturing going on. So they have their own manufacturing facility where they make their own cars compared to NIO, which they have a contract with another company to make their cars right now. I believe they're also in the process of making their own manufacturing plant. But compared to XPEV already has their own manufacturing plant. And as you see in this cooperation agreement, excuse me, The cooperation agreement marks another milestone achievement in XPeng's advancement in manufacturing expansion and puts the company's leadership in position at the forefront of the smart EV market. In addition to the wholly owned subsidiaries, which has an annual production capacity of 100,000 units. XPeng's new EV manufacturing base will significantly expand the company's production capacity and accelerate XPeng's momentum to achieve its goals in innovation, technological advancement, and growth. So they're putting out basically, as you can see right here under the cooperation agreement, I'm not even going to butcher this name. Gets Investment will invest up to 1.3 billion in to construct the smart EV manufacturing base according to the design requirements and specifications to be provided. The smart EV manufacturing base is expected to commence production by December 2022. So they should be producing more cars at a different manufacturing. So now they have 2 manufacturing plants, and by December 2022, 2 years out, they should be producing vehicles by that time. In addition, the investment agreed to make investment 1 billion entity to be designated by the end of March 2021. So yeah, man. So it's just showing that this company is also growing. And if you look at, I think we already looked into this. So, just digging in, man. So obviously they're growing in deliveries. They're obviously growing in sales. They're one of the top guys in sales. A lot of analysts and people involved watching this stock believe it is undervalued. They're growing, and they already have a manufacturing plant, and they plan on growing another one. And then if you look here, their analysts also have ratings, which is crazy to me, because if you look at their price target, okay, if you look over here, this is a 12-month forecast. The low is $140 in 12 months. Compare that to the last one I showed of NIO, which was the low was 40. The medium was about 130, 140, and then the high was in the 260 range. So I mean, the low on here is 140. So the low on here is $100 more than what they anticipated with NIO. But obviously everyone continues to raise their price target on NIO. But again, man, so obviously there's huge growth. Current price is $35.85, and this is where they believe the company can be. The average price of $177.37. Now, the reason why I'm now interested in this company is because of the fact that the float is extremely lower than NIO. So NIO is 944 compared to XPEV, which is 81 million. So what does that tell me? Just like we see over here, it took 10 days for NIO to go from the low 20s to the 40s. It took XPEV 2 days. So that tells me that this can potentially reach $100 milestone before NIO, not necessarily because they're the better company, but just for the fact that the supply compared to the demand could cause a massive squeeze in a shorter period in time. Yes, this is a potential long-term investment also for me, but I'm more looking at it as a short-term pop, because just like we see here, in 2 days, like I said, with NIO, the average price I got it in originally was $27.56, and as you see, in 2 days, this went from $23.72 to $39.78 in 2 days. So that is basically the profit margins I made on NIO in the last 2 weeks, and I could have made it in 2 days in XPEV. So my goal here is, because this looks like it's getting weak, I want to see it drop again. Depending on the level it drops to is going to depend on how many shares I buy, and then wait for for it to really ramp up compared to NIO. As we all know, NIO's been on this 2-week rampage, and so I kind of want to see the same thing with XPEV. I want to see it dip a little bit more, and then I want to see it go on a rampage just like NIO did. And then this thing could potentially squeeze even higher than NIO for the fact that the supply is about 10 times less than NIO. And so again, it's a supply and demand ratio that could cause this thing to push exponentially and hit that 100 mark before NEO does, just because the supply is 10 times less. So if you get a lot of demand and it starts trading 100 million, 200 million shares, we could see a nice push just like we've seen in these 2 days. So now it's slowing down, consolidating a little bit. I'm hoping it'll drop. So, my plans for Monday is whichever one of these drop, whether NEO or XPEV, I plan on buying up in this third account. So whichever one drops first. So if NEO continues to go bullish, which this bullish flag is looking like it still potentially will, well, I still have positions in 2 accounts. And this one doesn't look as bullish at this point. So if it does wind up dropping a little bit when the market opens, pre-market, I plan on scooping up shares. But if NEO happens to have a good dip as well, I might very well just buy up more NEO. I haven't necessarily decided yet. It's just whichever one drops first. But XPEV is also a great, company, man, to be purchasing right now in these times, in this EV sector. With everyone wanting to go green, and now with Biden being the president, he wants to go green as well. So that's just another catalyst, for these companies to propel. Let's see, any news over here? Oh, they also said luxury automaker Bentley is going all electric. So you see what I'm saying? Like, everybody wants to go electric because that's the way of the future. That's just the way to go. So you feel me? So, we got price targets over here in the hundreds for a 12-month forecast. We have a lower float, which will cause exponential movement if the demand is there compared to NEO, the push of NEO. Of course, I still see NEO skyrocketing at some point. And so I'm still extremely bullish on NEO, but I also want to expand my portfolio in the EV market. So I've been looking up XPEV. I've been looking up Lee. I've been looking up Tesla. I've been looking up FUV. I've been looking up all kinds of companies involved, Solo, all these companies involved, but XPEV, to me, digging in their filings, looking at their quarterlies and annually reports, look like the best option for another long-term run. But again, like I said, for the short term, this excites me is the float. Just because of the demand. So just like when I'm trading, when I'm doing my day trades, I always look for low float stocks. Which are stocks under 20 million for what I was day trading in the beginning, and then for market caps, smaller market caps. But it causes the same reaction. It's just a supply and demand issue. So, we have 11% short float, which is 11% of this 81. So, we're talking roughly 8 million, a little over 8 million shares that can be shorted. So, the higher this demand, the higher the volume goes. If the volume keeps adding up, and as you can see, over here, it increased all 3 days that it popped. Boop, boop, boop. So if that volume keeps on ramping up with the supply that we have of 81 million, if this volume continues to trade over 100 million, we could see massive squeezes in the short future. So you could very well see XPEV reach higher levels than NEO in the short term just for that fact. Now, not to say that they're going to stay up there. Like, obviously, NEO has been on this gradual climb, and he's been on a monster climb. I'm going to guess, and just, for my thesis and what I'm seeing, that this is going to ramp up, but it's going to have stronger pullbacks than NEO has in their 10-day ramp up. So depending on what this does in the next 10 days. But again, like I said, with all the catalysts that are going on right now, and all the hype and all the eyes are on the EV market, on NEO, of course, people now, they're seeing NEO and what NEO's doing. They're going to start looking at the next best EV companies in China, which XPEV is one of them. So more eyes are going to be on it, like you've seen in the last couple days. And then they got a lot of good things going on for them too, So obviously what I just showed you, strong performance, but undervalued. We got an increase of 229% year over year for the month. We got an increase of 64% year over year from year to date. We got them already having a manufacturing plant of their own. So that tells me that they're going to be around for the long run. And then they're opening another manufacturing plant in an agreement to start construction on another one, which tells me they're going to ramp up more production. As you can see here, they want to get up to 100,000 units, which is, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then, with their float being 10 times less than NIO, that tells me we could have significant pops faster than NIO. And then with the price targets of these analysts, I mean, we can't say no. And then the revenue continues to grow as well. I don't really have much on the revenue numbers as I would like. Let me see. Let's look into the financials right here. Because it didn't show much of the revenue, except for right here, as you can see, sales and revenue 1.4 million compared to 2018 1.47 million compared to 335 million. That's a huge increase. You know what I'm saying? Cost of goods. But again, the revenue is kicking up and I don't see it slowing down. Obviously, they did have some slowdown due to COVID, but I just see them ramping up towards the end of this year, which they're looking like, which is what they did, as you can see, as we showed over here, with a 229% increase from October to October. So obviously they're ramping up revenue and ramping up production and deliveries. So, I think they're just going to continue to remain strong as well. But again, the reason why this is now on my radar is this, the demand, supply, and demand, supply, and demand. So if I'm going to be trading in these EV stocks, I'm already holding a great position in NIO. And so if I'm going to be trading on Monday, I really want to see this drop. And if it drops, I'm definitely going to pick up some shares and see what it does in the near future. Because as I said, as the demand increases, this is going to cause this stock to outperform NIO as far as price range in the short term compared to the long term. I see NIO being the dominant player in the long term. XPEV can be a big player in the long term, I do believe, but in the short term, because of the supply and demand, I see them having bigger pops. So I'm seeing that this could potentially reach 100 before NIO, but have huge swings, from hitting 100, then back down to 80, and then, kind of just super choppy like you see in this area right here. That's kind of what I'm picturing for XPEV. So that's pretty much what I'm picturing for them. So whichever stock drops tomorrow, because I did want to repurchase NIO if it did have a nice enough drop. I wanted to pick up some more shares and add on to my position. But the way NIO's looking, it still looks like it's going to potentially pop. And then here, this looks like it's more in a bearish area compared to NIO. So if this one drops, then I'll be sure to pick up shares on here. XPEV is very much on my radar, very much the potential for me to pick up on it. Again, another great EV opportunity to grow, and to capitalize on this opportunity right now with this hot market in the EV, man. So, we got a huge backer of Alibaba back in this company. We got growth year over year in revenue and in deliveries. We have growing in manufacturing plants, opening another manufacturing plant. We got analysts suggesting a 12-month forecast in the 140s to the 260 range. And compared to NIO, also compared to NIO, this company is right behind NIO. Okay, so right now NIO has a $55 billion market cap, and XPEV has a $25 billion market cap. So they have roughly half the market cap when they're competing right there with them. So I see this company very well reaching that same market cap sometimes towards the end of this year and holding that position. So, that's talking, at the price it is right now, at the 35. So we're talking a $70 price target by the end of the year. But again, with the supply and demand, I could really see it hitting 70 before NIO does, just because of the supply and demand. And also, this hasn't been on the market as long as NIO. This has only been on the market for a few months. August 27th, compared to NIO, which has been on the market for, since 2018. and IPO'd in September of 2018. So NIO's been on the market for a couple years, and again, man, it's a proof of concept. So Tesla has already reached those heights of proof of concept. When Tesla first came out, nobody really believed where it was going to go now, and now look at it. So that proved the concept of this is going to take over, and then you see it in NIO's growth, and it took 2 years to finally start pushing. And then now you're seeing it in XPEV, which has only been on the market for a few months, for 3 months. So this could exponentially just continue to pop and reach those heights of 55 million, just like NIO. And I believe because of the supply and demand, it could do it a lot sooner. Not saying that this company is better than NIO or anything like that, but just because of the supply and demand of the shares and the volume, that this thing could potentially pop big in the near future, just depending on the catalysts that are going to continue to propel these companies and the EV sector. So just a weekend update on what I've been researching and what I've been doing. Again, man, Monday morning, pre-market for me opens at 1 o'clock a.m. So I'll probably get up around 1:30 because I want to see it play out for a little bit. I want to see what it does for the first half hour first before I make any decisions. And if it drops, I'm definitely a buyer on either one of these. And if it maintains and continues to pop, if NIO continues to push higher, and I notice XPEV continues to push higher, well, then I'm going to make my decision at that point, whether or not, depending on the volume I see in XPEV, I might go that route, or depending on NIO, I might also go back that route. But I'm thinking I'm probably going to push more towards XPEV just because of the supply and demand, depending on the volume I see on Monday. So that's going to be it for today. XPEV is definitely on my radar. Definitely another EV company to look into. And if anybody's looking into NIO and watching this, also do some research on XPEV. Half the market cap of NIO, but very well could be up there with NIO at this very moment. I believe it's undervalued as well, but I love the supply and demand compared to NIO supply and demand, which is going to cause a bigger push in a shorter period of time. And that is looking very promising from what you see in these 3 days. So XPEV, another EV company on my radar. So y'all be sure to watch out for that. Again, please subscribe, hit a like. I would appreciate it. That's going to do wonders for me in the future. And I'm going to continue to make these videos and update on everything else that I'm looking into. But XPEV is definitely one that you want to keep on your radar for short term and for long term. So trading wise, that's what I really want to get into for XPEV. For short term trades, maybe a few days of trading because of the possible exponential growth in a shorter period of time compared to NIO. So that's my update for today. Another EV company with huge growth potential, potentially short term than compared to NIO. So definitely one on my watch. And you feel me? And I'll let you know what happens on Monday and keep y'all updated. All right? All right, man. Till next time, that's it for me. All right? Gone.